Welcome to Makeover Monday, week 29. Watch Me Viz. My name is Andy Kriebel, and I am your host today. Thank you for joining me. I know this is a bit earlier today, but I've got some things I need to do this afternoon. I've got my family coming in this week for my 50th birthday. So for those of you that are here live, thank you for joining. Please leave any questions that you have in the chat. I have the chat up for both YouTube and for LinkedIn. So please leave any comments you have, and I will get to them as soon as I can. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. If somebody could please let me know if you can hear me, that would be wonderful. I'd appreciate that. So let me just adjust my screens here so I can see your comments. And yeah, okay. So I think we are good to go. Yeah, if somebody could leave a comment, that would be great. And I can see the comments both on LinkedIn and on on both LinkedIn and on YouTube. So okay, so everybody can hear me. Everything looks good. Thank you for the happy birthdays. While you're at it, let me know where you're dialing in from. I always love seeing. Usually, we've got a pretty diverse audience here. Let me know where you're dialing in from, and I will go ahead and get started. So let me share my screen. If you give me 1 second, I just need to share my screen. There we go, and we should be good to go. Yeah. Okay. So, Zizi's watching. That's a bit scary. Hi, Zizi. It's nice to see you. I think. Be nice. Okay, so this week for Makeover Monday, the data set's actually quite interesting. We're looking at data about from something called the Climate Action Tracker. Basically, they have all these different metrics for how you can measure the impact that is happening in the world. So we've got things like aviation, shipping. And if I go to the, where is it here? The data portal, I can see, for example, let's say I just want to look at the world. I'm going to look at, so these are all of the different sectors that are in the data set that we have. So let's say I want to look at, I don't know, waste, and my indicator is waste generation per capita. And my scenario is historical data. So okay, and I picked a bad example because there's nothing in there. So let me pick something else. Let's say electricity, and the indicator is renewable capacity. And there we go. So we see something like that. I can then maybe include the United Kingdom, and we could see what the trend is for the UK. Unfortunately, we are flattening out because the Tory government does not really care about the environment. So Houston, Texas, it is quite early in Houston, Nate. What is it? So you're 6 hours behind. So that's, 7 a.m.? Well, good for you. Nice. You must be an early morning person. Okay, so let me hop over to Tableau, and we can have a look at the data. Now, the biggest challenge with this data set, I think, is going to be deciding what to use because there's so many different indicators. So I'm going to start by just renaming some things here. So let's have a quick look at the columns. So we have the sectors. So let's see what kind of sectors we have. We've got, okay, so we've got quite a few. So this looks like the same list that we had in over in the website. And then the indicators, so these indicators will change based on the sector. So, right, so again, lots and lots of indicators. The country, that's pretty self-explanatory. The year, the variable. So the variable, when I created this data set, I'm only looking at historic data. And then the value, and then the unit. So, you know, we'll see lots of different values, like 504. But then down here, oh, well, when we get to another one, you might see 33.2 or something like that. Because there's, so this one is meat kcal per capita per day, where you might then have another one that is, I don't know, GDP per capita, something like that. So let's go ahead and build this here. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just look at the sectors and then the indicators. So let's see if there's anything that we can find that looks interesting that we might want to look at. Let's see, what do we have here? Buildings, I'm not really interested in. Electricity, so coal should be interesting because coal power should be disappearing pretty much. In fact, the town that I live in is a very old mining town that all the mines are shut down. So the town isn't doing so great. Okay, so steel production. Okay, and then we have some macro level things. So financial energy emissions, oil and gas transport, waste generation per capita. I'm looking for something. So agriculture emissions intensity. Wonder what that is. Okay, so let's see. Why don't we start with, we could look at, and then let's put unit here as well so we can see that. So meat kcal per capita. Okay, so we could look at meat consumption. I don't know. We could do some, I don't know if you all have heard of something called spurious correlations, but it's a way that you can try to make correlations between data points that have nothing to do with each other. But it might be interesting to look at like agriculture activity versus something like, I don't know, GDP per capita. So the reason I say that is because I have an example. Let me find it here. So I just need to look up Cal. There we go. So this is one that I created before for ground contamination because methane from cows is one of the largest polluters. And this is actually a custom color palette I have called Cal Shit. So anyway, not very interesting, but so this one, for example, is let's see. So groundwater drinking. Okay, so it doesn't look like we'll be able to reproduce anything like that. So let's just start maybe playing around with a couple of the different, so it's emissions per capita. Okay, I'm going to look at maybe something like emissions per capita. Nope. Variable. Is it unit? Nope. What am I looking at? Indicator. There we go. So I look at emissions per capita versus GDP. Okay. So what I can do now is I need to put one indicator here. Let's see, how do I want to do this? I actually want this to be two measures. I don't think directly in Tableau, we don't have the option to unpivot, do we? Because I think I would like to have the indicators wide instead of tall, but okay, so let me see if I can figure this out. Because I basically want to create a scatter plot between the two. So, okay, so I'm going to create a new field, emissions per capita. So I'm going to say if indicator is equal to that, then I want the value, and otherwise I want null. Okay, and let's rename this one. And then duplicate, edit, GDP per capita, GDP per capita. Okay, so now what I can do, is I can put emissions versus GDP. Come on. And I could look at it by country and maybe by year. And we could, let's make it a line and let's put the year on the path. So now we should get one line for each country. Okay, so let's show the highlighter. Again, we've got some aggregates in here as well. US, world. Let's flip this around. Germany. What? This is a real outlier here. AE. What country is AE? I don't know what country it is. That is AE. Which country? United Arab Emirates. Okay. So they are now, the GDP per capita is way up. The emissions had gone way up in, I'm just trying to see if there's relationships between the two. So let's see. Let me just, I'm going to, just for now, I'm going to exclude the AE. Okay. So we get something like that. What is the, what am I looking for? Is it the G7 countries? Okay, so I'm going to create a group for the G7 countries. So we've got Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Canada, Germany, Italy, Japan, UK, US. Japan, US, GB. That's 7. And let's put that onto the filters. Right. Okay. So the US and Canada are the highest emissions per capita, but also the highest GDP per capita. Does that really tell me anything? It looks kind of neat, but it doesn't really tell me a whole heck of a lot. Okay, I'm going to try something. I'm going to try to do maybe a small multiples of so we can see kind of each country in a grid and then their trend across the years. So just give me 1 second. I just need to hide the screen real quick. Okay, show it again. Okay, so I'm going to go to my panel chart here. You've probably seen me. I seem to do these like every week. Okay, so the rows and the columns, let's make those discrete. So the columns here, the rows there. And we want to compute using country, compute using country. So now we get kind of this small multiple look. So if I get rid of G7, I want to make this an attribute. And then, no, I don't want to do that. Yeah, so this is where it gets confusing because not all of the countries have all of the years. Okay, so dimension and date, check both at the level dimension, at the level dimension. Edit. Okay, there we go. So now we can see each country, and we could sort these by the field descending, let's say, emissions per capita. So that's the US, no, Australia, US. So Australia has the highest, okay. Well, that doesn't tell me anything. Okay. So let's see what else we could do. It might be best, maybe what we should do is, let's see, so we could do the sector. So it is sector. And then okay. So on my filters, I can make this indicator filter only relevant values. So if I choose only agriculture, then I can pick one of these. Okay, and then let's make this a single select. I'll just make it a list for now. And we want to get rid of the all option. We'll do that. And then let's get rid of the all option. Okay, so then I could put maybe the country here and the value there. And then the, is it the variable? No, it's the unit, I think. Yeah. So what I could do then is I could put the country, the unit, a sum, but I don't want a sum. I want it to be, okay, so let's do it like this. Let's put year and something like that. Let's see. This is nice because it allows you to, I think there's a country that is world. Okay. What the heck was that? Okay, Hyderabad, Houston, Bangalore, Nigeria. What about on, let's see what we have on LinkedIn. Just happy birthdays on LinkedIn. Nobody told me where they're from. Yeah, I guess another, oh, what happened here? I think it's still going. All right, let me keep going. So now I can switch between some of these things. Okay, buildings is one we don't want. Forestry. Brighton. Oh, I like Brighton. I like Brighton, but I hate the beach because it's not really a beach. I don't think you could probably disagree with me there, Sean. Okay, so industrial. Okay, we don't care about that. I'm just now, what I'm doing now is I'm just trying to go through the different metrics and see which ones look like they might be useful. So in agriculture, We have meat consumption. Meat production doesn't necessarily look good. They're not pebbles, they're rocks. Okay, so buildings looks like it's not very useful. So what I'm going to do is, how can I do this? Create set. So exclude sectors. So we want to exclude buildings. And we want to exclude all these. So what I'm doing now is I'm just trying to go through the different the different sectors and see which ones have a good enough, like, have a decent amount of data. Okay. So some of these, so electricity looks good. Forest land index, we don't really need that. Oops. That's forestry. Have an oil and gas. Okay, so that doesn't look good. Okay, transport overall. Emissions of land-based. Okay, so that doesn't look good. Distance traveled. Okay, that doesn't look good. Road. Okay, so transport doesn't look, so none of the transport options look very useful. Okay, and then let's look at waste. Okay, and waste doesn't look very useful either. Okay. So I've only got a couple left here. So what again, hopefully this is being useful. I'm going through these different sectors and indicators and trying to find ones that have enough data that we might be able to make some sense of it. So in the electricity, so coal per capita. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is share of renewable electricity gained. So this is coal as okay. So coal is a coal share in primary energy supply. Was that the same thing then? Slightly different view. Coal power share in total electricity generation. Okay, so that's slightly different. Energy intensity, emissions intensity, emissions per capita. Whoa, what the heck happened here? Okay, Adelaide, South Australia. What time is it in Adelaide, Christine, right now? It must be, I can't even guess what time it is. Middle of the night. Okay, hydro share, nuclear. So oil share versus coal share. Okay. Fossil fuel share, gas share. Okay, so I think I'm going to stick with the macro sector. Okay, so we can get rid of that. And let's hide that card. And then for my indicators, let's see. So indicator, create set. I want to look at coal share and primary energy supply. Primary fossil fuel share, gas share, nuclear, and oil. Solar and wind. So those should, if I remove that filter, okay, so they don't add up. Why am I getting 200%? Okay. All right, so I know I don't need those. Don't need that. So I'm getting 200 for some reason. What the heck happened here? What I'm trying to do here is trying to see if the solar has the opposite effect of, yes, it's still only like 5% share. So that's not very useful. Hydro. What I'm trying to get to here is I want to do some comparisons to the world and see which countries are doing better or worse than the world. So for example, if I looked at solar and wind, we see the world is at 1.2%, but Denmark is at, no, Germany is at 4.7%. So it's quite a bit higher than the world. So they're outperforming the world. Hello, Shubham. So the way that I would do that is I'm going to create a calculated field. I'm going to call this my world value. And I'm going to say if world, then I want the value and I'm going to do else 0 and then, okay, so value versus world. So it should just be the value, see the world minus the world value. So if I get rid of that one now, So this can't be right. So I'm doing something wrong here with my measure. Let's see. Year is country out. That's fine. But some of them should be below the world value and some of them should be above. Okay. So I think what I need to do is I need to say fixed on the year if some okay, there we go. Is that right? What the heck is going on here? And so I'm trying to build this as a table now so I know where I've messed up. Okay, so let's just keep that one for now. We've got the country and we have the value. And then the world value should be done here. Okay, so world value. So the world value is wrong. Oh, okay. That's because this needs to be in context. In context. There we go. Okay, that's better. So if I go back here, this needs to be in context and the indicator needs to be in context. Okay. So now if I look at coal share, so the world will always be 0. Okay, so there's no, where's the world here? So the world doesn't have a value past then. Okay, gas, nuclear. So if I go back here and I look at the world, there's no values past 2017. Okay, so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to edit my data source filters, and I'm going to add a filter on the year field, and at most 2017. Okay, so now if I go back here, okay, there we go. So we only have data through 2017, and let's see, indicator set. Into context. Okay, so this tells us how the countries are doing compared to the world. Right. Oops. So let's get rid of that. We put the indicator up here. Okay. By Shali from Dubai. Hi, from Dubai. Okay. Never been to Dubai. It's hot, right? Is it hot all year in Dubai? I know it's a really ignorant question of me to ask, but I just don't know. But I hear wonderful things about it. Okay, so in the chat, give me some ideas on things you would like me to explore, or anything you've seen so far that has been useful that I should keep progressing. I think I need a bit of help from you all today to figure out where to take this next. For now, my thinking is we could just compare everything to the world. The other option, okay, just hot for 3 months. That's good to know. So the other option is to allow us to compare to any country. So the way that I would do that, if I duplicate this sheet, what I could do is I'm going to set up a set based on the country field. And let's say we start out with, I don't know, GB. And what I could do is I'm going to duplicate that field and say world values. So let's call this country set value. So if country set, then value. And then what I should be able to do is duplicate, edit. So this is versus country set. This would be country set value. Okay, so now if I put this value here instead, everything's now, everything should have been compared to, let's see, country set. There we go. So now everything's compared to Great Britain. So if I set up a worksheet action as a set action, update country set, and I want to do it on select. I only want to do single select. I want to update my country set. Running it will assign the values. Clearing the selection will keep the values. We could remove the values. Let's try that. So if I click on that, everything adjusts to that. Click off, and everything goes back to the standard values. Okay. So this is showing comparisons. So this everything compared to, for example, CL, I guess that's Chile. And now if I change my indicator, let's make this a single value. Let's get rid of the all. Let's make it a single value list. Okay, so something like that. So now everything's comparing to that. Can we do country set here? Okay, that doesn't do it. Okay, that didn't work. What I'm trying to get it to do is to highlight everything. But that isn't working. Oh no, get rid of that. Oh, there we go. Okay. So that looks good. So now everything is compared to the one country. Okay. I don't know what you think about it. The solar and wind share view looked interesting. Solar and wind share. Now what would be interesting is to find, let me see, let me show the highlighter. Okay. So the UK is one of the leaders in solar and wind production, which is good. Up where I live, there's tons and tons of windmills. It's great, and it's super windy here all the time. So good place for them. But the government has decided they're going to stop using them, or not stop using them, stop expanding them, and go back to coal and oil drilling. So yeah, wonderful. Okay, so we got something like that. If I compare it to the GB, we get that. So now the question is, what do we do with this? So that shows us the trend over time. Okay, so let me duplicate, and let's make this let's make it discrete. And I want to have country on the rows. Okay, something like that. So now everything's compared to that, to Japan, to Chile, or no. So oil. Okay, so that's a way we could do it as well. I wonder if I get rid of that and I pick, okay, so let me, okay, so this now needs to be, this needs to be also the indicator. Was there like a total? Okay, I was hoping to be able to compare multiple these at the same time, but it's really difficult because they don't resort with each column. Okay. We could do, let's see, so if I, let's duplicate this sheet, but instead of having value versus the world, we're going to have just the value. And worksheet, actions. Okay, good. I don't want that on there. So let's get rid of world for now. And I'm going to do what's called a parallel coordinates plot. So let's create a new calculated field. So let's call this parallel coordinate. So we're going to take the window max of the sum of the value. No, we want to do minus the window min. So this gives us the range of the data. Okay, so we want that in brackets. So I'm going to take my sum of the value minus my window min. I'll explain this in just a second. Divided by that. Okay, so the window min, what that's going to do is it's going to, so it's what's going to happen here is the highest value is going to be assigned 100%. The lowest value is going to be assigned 0%. And then we're looking at every value as a ratio between. So the lowest value in this one, for example, is 0.85. The largest is 74. So let's say, so the range is about 73. So this range here is going to be 73. The highest value is going to be if I look at this individual value here, 74. So this is going to be 74 minus my min, which was 1. And then this is 74 minus 1. So that's going to be 100%. If I look at this one, it's going to be 40. So it's going to be 40 minus 1. So that's 39 divided by 73. So that's going to give me a ratio there. So why do I have? I think I've got one extra. Okay, here we go. So I'll show you what that means in a second. So we want to edit the table calc. We wanted to do it differently for each year. Okay, so that is, yeah. So this is kind of like doing a ranking, except we're looking at it as a ratio. Instead of like a bump chart would just be the rank 1 through whatever, where the parallel coordinates is like a bump chart, but it's the ratio between them. Okay, so we should now be able to swap out the measures. And I could theoretically tell it to restart every indicator as well. Okay, and then I'm going to call this one exclude world. Oh. Okay. So now we could turn on our action again. So let's put our country set onto color. And then if we click on something, okay, let's put dummy onto detail. We want to highlight dummy, and we want to create a worksheet action. Date. Country set for parallel coordinates. Single select, date the country set, assign, keep. Okay. Oh, now I need to edit this. So now we can see where that one, as I click a country, it moves that line within, so it must not exist over here. So let's say, I'm going to look at UA. So that shows us kind of the distribution. I don't know if that's really useful or not. I don't know. Okay. So again, it's a way to kind of show a rank. So if I duplicate this field and instead of using parallel coordinates, I do the value, and then I'm going to do a rank. I want to do the rank for each year. Let's see, what do they have it? How do they have it set up here? There we go. This one probably certainly looks a bit better. And then I want to make sure that's included. Okay, so now as I pick a country, it shows there. Oh, I like that. That's definitely better than this. Okay, so if I show all my indicators now, so there's 6 indicators. Maybe I could do 2 rows of 3. Okay, so so let me rename this one as coal, fuel. I guess fossil fuels would be several of these combined, so I can get rid of fossil fuels. Well, we could probably leave it in there and make it maybe the first option. So coal, gas, and oil. Nuclear and wind. Okay, so let's hide that. Hide that. All right, let's get rid of the title. Let's. I'm going to call this my rank. I changed the data type to a decimal number. And then let's edit the axis and reverse. And what I should be able to do, okay, that didn't make a difference. But I could zoom in on the axis a bit more. So now I could say I want to start it at 0.5, and I want to go to 33.5, 32.5. 32 is the lowest rank. And then on the tick marks, I could say fixed, start at 1. And then let's start at 0. Go every 5. Something like that. Okay. That's probably okay. All right, so what I want to do now is, so this is my rank. I now need to come up with some kind of title for this. So if I go back to the data, let's see. Okay. So we're looking at the primary energy supply. Is that right? Fossil fuel share. Okay, so this is the share of primary energy supply. So this is the rank of okay. So not that many countries actually have nuclear. So then I could say click on a line to trying to find an emoji that's like a push option. Like some kind of click emoji. I'll search for touch. Oh. Does anybody know of a good emoji to use for so quadrant chart? Okay, Max, I'll come back to your question in a minute. Oops. I don't think that's going to look right. Okay, yeah, that doesn't look good. Okay, so let's see. So Max, quadrant chart would be interesting to see how similar activities compare and are positioned based on GDP. Maybe one axis GDP, the other one CO2 emissions. Okay, so let's have a quick look at that for you, Max. So indicator would be, I would need to, so emissions per capita. And then GDP per capita. And we want to look at, let's say, by country and then by year. But maybe the year should be filterable. Oops. Let's say we just look at 2017. Yeah, so there aren't that many that are, yeah, so the problem now, Max, is that there just aren't that many data points for these two measures. What other ones do we have? Yeah, so that doesn't help us that much, unfortunately. Good idea, though. Because we might be able to see outliers. Yeah, quadrant to switch activities by country. Search for a button emoji. Okay, let me try that. Let me go back. I'm going to need to be done soon, so I'm going to have to finish this up. Search for button. Okay. Button emoji doesn't seem to do anything. Okay, maybe something like that. Okay. So I need to give this a better title. How color the click blue? Let me try that. Can I even do that? You can't because it's an emoji. Oh, color this blue. That's a good idea. Global warming due to energy production. So I think it's I might want to do, actually, what if I change this rank to a rank? No, I want it to be a rank. But I want it to be descending. So no, ascending. It's not changing anything. Okay, there we go. So this would mean these are the countries that are using the least solar and wind. No, that's okay. I think I'll leave it back the other way. So something like how are countries oh, this is terrible. I can't come up. I searched for a computer in the emoji keyboard, which had a mouse emoji in it. Okay, that's okay. Oh yeah, I saw that mouse emoji. It's just too hard to see because it's because of its white against the gray background. So it's something like which countries are using the most of each energy supply, something like that. But it would also be good to know which country they picked. Okay, so let's say country set value. If country set, then country. And then I probably want to have the value on the detail. I'm going to come back to the title after I format this a bit. So col, and then value. So indicator, okay. I don't want decimals on my rank numbers. Okay, there we go. So the rank looks okay there. The gas, so coal 23.11%. Okay, so value. So we want to format that to be in the pane 1 decimal. Okay, there we go. So that looks good. Okay, and then what I'm trying to do here is insert the country set value. Let's see, what does that do? So it says all. If country set, then country. Oh, great. That's weird. Why is that not? JP. Okay, well, that doesn't help me anyway. Global warming. I search the computer. Anybody have any other ideas for title? So by Shawley, global warming due to energy production, a ranking of sources. But it's not necessarily global warming. and it's not energy production, it's energy sources. A ranking of sources, energy. Yeah, so it's not really energy production. So let's say this is a rank of countries by primary energy source. Very boring title. Click on the line to highlight. Let's get rid of that. Actually, maybe I could put country set value onto label. And then maybe show it on the line end. There we go. There we go. That's good. Match mark color. Let's make it Tableau medium. Okay, there we go. So that's good. So now it's going to put the label for the country on the end of the line. Okay, that's good. I like that. Right. So Italy doesn't have any nuclear. China. That is France. Okay. So I think, okay, when I put it in the dashboard, I might need to make it a bit wider to give my my countries a bit more room there. All right. Ranking of countries by primary energy source. Okay, I'm just going to leave it like that for now. Okay, so let's stick this in a dashboard now. And I'm going to start by just deleting the phone. And then I don't think I'm only going to have this one sheet in the view. So which sheet is it? This one, rank. I'm going to float that in. And then my layout, I'm going to set it to be the same size. And I posted on LinkedIn about this. This is my process for building a dashboard. So 1,800. And then I'm going to set the inner padding to 20. So this gets me kind of set up initially. I'm going to turn on my caption. And this is going to be 8 and light gray. So the data source for this week is Climate Action Tracker. Something like that. And then, so the reason I float that first one in and make it the same size is because now when I go to, well, first off, down here in my layout, in my item hierarchy down here in the bottom, I don't have a mess. I don't have all those extra tiled containers and things. Let me show you what I mean. So if I just double click on that sheet, or if I just drag that sheet in and go to the layout, now I've got tiled rank, so sometimes you end up with like 10 of these tiled things inside. So let's delete that. So now on this dashboard, I want to make it a bit wider. Maybe I'll make it 1600 by 900. And then I need a bit more room for each of my labels. So I'm going to fix it to start at 1988, but maybe start at 2020, finish at 2021. Okay, let's try 2020. Okay, there we go. So now we've got a little bit of padding on the edge there. We could also then, let's do some formatting. We don't need the row dividers. The column dividers look nice, but do we need them in the header? Probably not. Okay, so let's format this now and make this a lighter color. Probably format this one and make it a lighter color. Make sure they're the same gray. And then I need to go up to my worksheet actions and this sheet. So I want to edit, oops, shoot. Did I delete that? Okay, there we go. So I need to change this to be a dashboard action. So in my source sheets, I'm going to make it dashboard 1, rank. Okay, so that takes care of that. And then my highlight, this should also be on the dashboard. Dummy. Yeah. So that should take care of that. Okay, so the dummy. Okay, there we go. So that looks good. Okay, so the other option instead of, so if I get rid of these column dividers, I think that looks okay, but I think it might be better if, let's see, if I do some row banding or some column banding. So let's increase the size. So something like that. So let's go down like, there we go. So I could do that. And let's get rid of, so no 0 lines. I've got little white lines there. What is that? There's tiny little white lines down here. I don't know if you can see that. It's probably the grid lines. No. Okay, so let me spread, I'm going to spread these out a bit more. So let's make this 1985 and 2022. That doesn't look good. Okay. So then, so maybe my, let's see, so if I go back to my shading, maybe I should make this shading a slightly lighter color. So that's going to make it darker. That makes it lighter. Maybe that's okay. This is just another way to frame the lines. So maybe I could change the size of the lines. Let's make them thinner. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that's pretty good. So let's do one more bit of formatting. I'm going to make this size 8. And then this one I'll make size 8 as well. And so what's the first point here is 1990. Yeah. Okay, so what I could do on this axis, let's see what this looks like. So if I go to tick marks, my origin is 1990, and I wanted to go to 2017, so 27. There we go. So now I can just label, let's see, fixed start, so tick marks. Yeah, so I'm going to do that. 1984. It's 86. Okay. There we go. Again, I'm just playing around to see how this looks on the axis down here. Okay, that's good. Okay, and then maybe I should format that and make these a bit bigger. Okay. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it like that. I can't, let's see, somebody come up with a title here. country's energy consumption per sector. So it's not necessarily the consumption. I'm looking at the rank. Rank of countries by primary. Yeah. The tricky thing here is trying to find a country, like trying to locate a country in the view. So if we look at solar and wind, so New Zealand, Italy, so the UK should be here somewhere. There we go, GB. Right. Okay, yeah, so you can see the ranking. So the UK has dropped a lot in coal compared to the rest of the world. All right, I think I'm going to leave it there. I'll probably just leave my title the way it is. I can't really think of anything better. So rank of country by primary energy source. What if I looked back at the website? Let's see. Okay. Can you click the top solar? We'll just see what their other ranking. Okay, so the top solar, that's Denmark. Yeah, so that makes sense. So the fossil fuels are way down for Denmark. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, maybe one other thing. Gosh, I fiddle around with these things forever. So my country set, if I put that on size as well and reverse the size, let's make I'm just trying to make the one you select slightly wider than the others to make it stand out a bit more. Interesting. Yeah, I agree. But then if we click up here for, let's say, South Africa, you'll see solar and wind goes way down. So definitely opposites. So coal, yeah, same sort of thing. So it's interesting. There's definitely a trade-off between clean energy and not. So France, so Denmark, yeah, or Germany, D is Germany. Okay, so let's leave it there. The last bit then would be to extract the data, and that's fine. I want to save this to 2023. Nope, that's not what I want. Yeah, that is it. Okay, that saves that. I need to save the workbook. Make it for Monday, 2023, and week 29. This would be global ranking of primary energy sources. Maybe that's what I should call it. That's better. So save, and then we publish it up to Tableau Public. You know what's really annoying is that I always click on Remember Me, and it never remembers me. I don't know if the rest of you run into that problem as well. Save. And that's it. So look at how leading solar powered in. Yeah. That's a good point, Ross. Yeah, so it's maybe it should be. It could be something like, I can always rename it after I publish it. Well, it's going to take forever to publish anyway. See, it's stuck. So annoying. I could call this clean energy versus fossil fuels. How does global ranking of primary energy source? Yes, something like that. Do something like that. Clean energy versus fossil fuels, global ranking of primary energy sources. Yeah, that's good. Thank you. Thank you, Ross. I appreciate that. That's really good. Okay, so server, save. It always takes me twice to save now too, which is like super annoying. And it says it's there, but it's not. Would it be better to reorder the charts now? Oh, yeah, you're right. I probably should have the clean energy here because of the way I wrote it. Nuclear. Okay, so okay, there we go. Like that. I think that's what you mean, Sean. Solar and wind to the left, and then nuclear is considered clean energy as well. So save again. Server. Save the tableau public. And now it's making me sign in again. How stupid is this? Okay, almost done. Thank you for all of your help today as well. It's been really, really useful to me, and getting the feedback along the way. Yeah, it's really good. So allow access. Okay, there's that. Now I'll show you what I do for my portfolio. So what I'll do is I'll export the image, and I'll just call it 29, put it on my downloads. And then I actually have a Google photo album where I put all of my Makeover Mondays. So I would highly recommend you do this as well. And then I have all of my Makeover Mondays from this year. So I can, and then I go in here and I call this week 9. And then I also have an album that is everything I've ever created, well, since I started. So if I go to this album now, you'll see I've got just this portfolio of everything that I've ever created. So a really good way. If I ever need to show somebody, so there's 1,100 items in there. So if I need to show somebody how I've progressed over time, I can just send them this album and say, hey, have a look. So if I go all the way down to the bottom, here's some of the first few things I built doing Makeover Monday and some other charts, and then they can scroll all the way to the top and see how things have changed. So I would highly recommend you do something like that. Of course, Tableau Public could be your profile, but it's nice to have just everything as an image as well. If I was going to create I'm not going to bother creating a GIF for it. But yeah, thank you very much for your help today. And I appreciate the assistance. So all of your comments are very helpful to making sure that that this goes relatively smoothly. And thank you for your feedback on what charts to use. Moving the solar to the left. The title is still, I think it's okay. It's not great, but it'll do. And hopefully you learned something through this process. And I do write a newsletter every week. So I typically write about some kind of topic at the beginning. Like this past week, I wrote about communities. The week before, I wrote about interviews. So if you go to andykribel.com and just pop your email in there, you can sign up. You will get a follow-up email that you get a follow-up email to confirm the subscription. So sign up for that. And I also give discounts and things. So all of the products that I create now are also, those are also now have price, what is it called? Price something parity. Anyway, basically the price adjusts based on where you live in the world. So if I go to my Gumroad page, where's my page? Well, I can't find it, but so if I just go to my website, if you go to andykribel.com, so this is where you sign up. You can go down in this Learn From Me section. So these are all of the things that I create. Again, there is price purchase parity, past issues of the newsletter if you're interested in those. And yeah, I think that's about it. So hopefully you sign up. It'd be great to see you on there. There's about 1,800 people on there now, so it's grown pretty nicely. And thank you very much for your time. And everybody have a wonderful week. And I will see you next Monday. Bye.